Welcome back. It is 1677. In the last one, Gideon has now gotten into college. Phineas is working on apothecary stuff. Bridget and Thaddeus are dating. Thomas used a love spell on Charity. Pullman is feeling guilty about some of the thoughts he has about his own future. Also, Charity had her baby, so thanks Hobart II needs to do his infant role. No 12, 16, or 18. Close, but we're safe. Elizabeth and Wyatt have no 4, 8, or 17. Ooh. Well, little Elizabeth, unfortunately, is not making it. Astrid, no 13 or 19. Trinity, no 2, 6, 11, or 15. Well, that changes things. And then Anquit is passing away. Oh, goodness. That really changes things. Okay. I shouldn't make plans so far in the future just for them to, anyway. Okay, we have 2 teens, Sakima Nokomis and Annabelle Johnson. For teen, that is no 7 or 14. Alrighty. Okay. Well, I have to do some thinking, but you will just see us hop into the game. Alrighty, so here we are in our main household. Gideon is now in university. He has been accepted. I kind of had to do that like in the background because it takes so long for them to get accepted. So I did queue it up a few some days ago. But yes, he's gotten accepted to university now. We have enough money, just barely, to send him. Although university is not very expensive in The Sims at all. And so he is now doing that. We've had him working on his homework and stuff overnight. So we'll continue to do that so that he can at least graduate. We'll see what happens. And then we have him and Phineas. So Phineas is here taking care of the garden, taking care of the chickens, taking care of the bees, and also starting his apothecary work. He's been doing a lot of research. He's made a few I don't know what they're called, like the medicine, like the potions, whatever it is. He's made a few of them. And so he is just working on that. He has not really found anyone to mentor him, or he can't join the career yet because he's just a teenager. So we're just going to have him working on this kind of stuff, doing his learnings and all of that before he becomes a young adult. So he's doing that. Gideon is doing his university stuff. And so Gideon, also I forgot to get Charity pregnant again. So here we go. But so Gideon is actually going to go out to the library to study because, we're poor. We don't have a ton of books here at our house. He would have to go to the library to study. And so he is there, and he spends a lot of time now with Alice, who he met before, and she's a genius. He's learned a lot from her just in their short time, and he has a big crush on her because of how smart she is and how amazing she is. And it's just such a shame that women can't go to college because she could absolutely be a big success, and unfortunately for her, that is not possible during this time period. But Gideon, on the other hand, is going to school, and he is focused on that, and he is studying with her, and not just studying with her, but they're learning together. And so that even though she doesn't have this opportunity to go to university, he's still, sharing his coursework with her, and she's still getting the knowledge and everything, and they're working together through problems. And it's kind of both give and take because he is opening this door for her to be able to access these materials and learn from them, but also she is just super super smart, so she's able to help him with his homework and stuff. So it's a little bit of both, where they're both getting something out of the arrangement. But of course he now has a big crush on her because he is really interested in her. And I mean, he is a mean sim, so it's not just that she's beautiful and she's smart and all of that stuff, but he also recognizes that he is succeeding in big part due to her because he has been successful in some of this concepts that may be too hard for him that she explains to him and all that kind of stuff. So he's not using her, but I think he does realize how exactly beneficial she could be to his future. So maybe that's what he likes as well. The dogs have been barking all day. They've just been barking all day, and they finally were quiet. And I was like, I'll record. Now they're barking again. We're just going to keep going. We're not going to stop. Unless they're like right next to me barking, we're not going to stop. Okay, so basically, he is now at university. I did want him to do his presentation so that I could at least get that, because even if we're not here for him to work on stuff, at least he would be able to, um, be able to get good grades even if we're not here, hopefully. I'm not really sure how exactly it works when you're not playing the household. I know that there are some difficulties in that if he does flunk out of school. I guess we'll just incorporate that, because we're not playing with his family 24/7, so that's not something we can really focus on, and it's not something I really want to focus on. I don't find the university gameplay to be that stimulating, so but it's fine. So we're just working through it. So um, yeah, that's a big bark. But yes, so we are going to do our best. And then also, Ruth and Poman are having their twin boys, and unfortunately, one of them does not survive, but the other one does survive. So Tasunke Waldrick is their last name. I forgot already. Has been born, and he is their only child so far. But they have two more baby tries, I believe. So they're working on that. They're going strong. So there they are, and then we're going to get her pregnant again. We're just updating the family tree and everything as per usual, and we are going to see how that goes. I am happy for them that they have had at least one baby successfully. I mean, what else can we do, And the brothers are getting along pretty well considering they're both mean. I mean, they have their moments where they don't get along, but for the most part, they're getting along well. And Phineas again is taking care of kind of the household stuff while Gideon does his schooling. And that's just something that the two of them have worked out together. They're brothers, they're looking out for each other and everything. And so Phineas is doing kind of the work at home to support Gideon's future. And he is also, following his own path. So we'll see where that goes. But we can say that he's kind of put a lot of his dreams on hold for Gideon to be able to move forward with that. So that's what we'll go with for right now. And now, yeah, we're going to head out. So we are going to go and see the Johnson family again. They are doing pretty well. So we're actually going to have Bridget go over to the Smith household because she and Thaddeus want to announce their engagement to the family. So they are going to come over here to tell Nathaniel and everyone else that they are getting married and that, they're going to live happily ever after together and all that stuff. So that is what the two of them are here to say, if I can get all of these Sims to actually gather round, which is always a big problem in this game. But we are going to have them have this conversation. Of course, they're walking away. Don't pay attention to that. But yeah, so they're having this conversation, and Thaddeus is talking about how him and Bridget are going to get married, and they're going to, have start their own family and everything. And Nathaniel's kind of like, well, where are you going to do that? Like you're not going to bring another person and then more babies into this household because I'm done having babies in my life, and I'm done having he's kind of like, oh, so you're telling me you're an adult now. You're an adult now, which means you can move out. Basically, Nathaniel is like, oh, good, great, you can leave. You can leave now if you're going to start your own family because you're not going to do it here. So Thaddeus is kind of, taken aback by that response. Like he knew his dad was a piece of crap, but he didn't really anticipate his father just like straight up being like, oh, great, get out. So that is not easy for him, but Thaddeus is like, you know what, fine, I will. Like, I will, that's fine. Thaddeus has never really relied on his father. Neither of the kids have. Their father has been interested in other things. And so he's like, fine, I will. I'll leave. And so then we have Meredith, that's her name, Meredith. And she is going to see Timothy again. Now, her and Timothy have this kind of interesting relationship where they're friends. They're not best friends, but they're good friends. And they're just having a good time with each other. No expectations, no strings. And so they do start a woohoo partnership where the two of them are just having a good time and not really, like I said, no expectations or anything like that. They're just trying to have some fun. She actually is not pregnant right now. I don't know what I would have done if she got pregnant, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly planning a ton right now for that. But yeah, so anyway. Next, we are moving on to see our main household again, just because, like I said, I am a little worried about the in-between times with his university. I'm not sure exactly. I really wish you could put people in university and then just let them go in other households, but that's not really the way it works, which is really frustrating, but that's just what we're going to accept for now. And so, whatever. So I am going to come here and do his homework, except he's gotten struck by lightning twice, which is really dangerous. And I'm like, fine, just stay inside. But yeah, he's been struck by lightning twice. But we're going to just do his homework and then we're going to leave again. So that is all that we're doing here. I'm just making sure that he's all set and that we can move on from that. So next, we are going to head over to see Charity and Trinity and Thanks. So they are all here. They've been living pretty well. Nothing too exciting has been going on for them, except for, the usual kind of living in this weird situation where they both have babies with Thanks, but Trinity and Charity are becoming friends and like a little romantic. But if, as you remember, last time Thomas did something really awful to Charity. And so now Charity, who's become friends with Trinity, has decided to confide in her friend about what happened. And she tells Trinity, she's like, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. Like, I don't even really like Thomas that way. I think he's kind of creepy after everything. Like, she's like, I don't know why I even, like, did that. And we know it's because she was under a spell. And Trinity, who is the one who did tell Thomas about the spell, is realizing that that's what happened. She's like, oh my gosh. But she doesn't want to tell Charity, like, hey, my family are witches, and by the way, I think that that's what happened to you, and you should definitely not tell your father and get my whole family burned at the stake. Right? So she's like, oh my gosh, like, and she consoles Charity. She's like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, that's really not fair, and that should not have happened. And all of this stuff. And so they're talking about it, and Trinity decides that she needs to go confront Thomas because that is not okay. So she goes home and she's like, I'm going to confront Thomas. I'm going to, complain. So she comes up to Thomas and with her mother in the room as well, because she wants her mother to hear it as well. And she's like, look, Thomas is using magic inappropriately. He did this thing where he, used a love spell on Charity, and that's not right. You can't do that. And Temperance is, of course, horrified that Thomas, after hearing how upset Trinity was about the whole situation with her and Thanks, that Thomas would turn around and be like, oh, you know what? That's actually a good idea. And so Trinity is like trying to talk to her son and be like, are you insane? Like, why would you do that? And all this stuff. And basically, Thomas is unapologetic. He is not really upset at what he's done like Trinity was, and Trinity acknowledges that what she did was really bad. She knows that, and she also feels this deep sense of guilt and she wants to make up for it and everything. But Thomas, unapologetic, he's like, I'd do it again. I don't care. Like, I'm going to get what I want and I have the power to make it happen. And so Trinity and her mother are kind of talking afterwards. And Trinity is like, there has to be a way to prevent him from using magic this way. And Temperance is like, I'm not really sure. Like, I taught myself magic. Like, Jacqueline taught me magic. It's not really, you know, I don't really have a lot of experience in figuring this out, and I've been trying not to use magic for many, many years. And so they're just talking about it, and Trinity is like, well, I'm going to find out if there's a way to like take away his magic, or if there's like something I can do to like protect my family and to prevent, him from being able to do magic on Charity or anyone else. And so she's just trying to figure that kind of stuff out. And so she decides that that's what she's going to do. She's going to try and figure out a way to prevent any more damage from being done, because she, not only does she want to protect Charity, who's become a good friend to her, but at the same time, like, if Thomas gets caught, her and her mother and probably her daughter are going to be killed. So it's just really a bad situation. And so she is trying to make sure that nothing happens. And so she's just working and day and night and researching and spells and this and that. And, she's just trying and trying and trying. And we know that Trinity is supposed to pass away this year. So in her efforts to, run herself ragged trying to find a solution to this problem, she ends up overexerting herself and ends up passing away from magical overload. So, Thanks and Charity, neither of them really know what happened. Charity doesn't know that she was under the influence of a spell, and neither of them know exactly how Trinity passed away. But back then, it's not like they really did. I mean, maybe they did autopsies, but they would never find anything in her. And they would probably just blame it on her heart or something. I don't know. I don't really know what they blamed things on back then. But yeah, it's just so it's very sad that Trinity ended up passing away trying to right a wrong that she did, trying to prevent her wrongs from impacting these people any longer. So she did end up passing away. Next, we are over here with the Waldrick family, and the Waldricks, Pullman now has one son that is still alive. And Ruth is here. She's just given birth. She's already pregnant again. And basically, Pullman is kind of like on her case a little bit. They did lose one of their sons, but right now, that their son is like the only boy in that generation, really. So besides his brothers, yeah, I guess in that the next generation. So he is kind of putting a lot of pressure on her because, Ruth was not his first choice. And he does love her and she loves him and, she grew on him. But he was really looking for someone who could kind of support him as head of the family. And, in their culture and in their social hierarchy, and she was not that person. And so because his brother had gotten to marry Mellie, his brother was kind of put in that position, but now that Mellie has passed and his brother only has two girls, Pullman does feel like it's only logical that everything should go to him and his children, even though they don't really have a relationship or like a blood relationship with the Yazzie family. Regardless, Pullman is kind of seeing an opportunity and is deciding to kind of raise himself up in a way, and he wants to start, taking the initiative and acting like he's a leader, but in doing that, he needs Ruth to be a certain way as well, and she is just kind of confused, and he is putting a lot of pressure on her to, have more children, make sure he has enough boys, make sure it's like his bloodline is going to be the persisting one. And so, of course, his mother, Rebecca, comes over and is like, hey, cut it out. So cut it out. What are you doing? Like, why are you not being nice to your wife, and all that stuff? And Pullman is like, look, we are creating a legacy here, and she needs to be on board with that. And, Rebecca's just kind of like, I'm too old for this. So Poman is definitely having a lot of feelings about his brother not having had any sons to kind of carry on their name with. Now we're going to go back to our main household, do the homework again, but we're mostly going to start doing some birthday stuff and wrapping up. We're going to take care of the farm, the whole shebang. So we are going to have him do this. Oh, and I want to make sure he can do his presentation as well. So that's important, because if he can do the final paper and the presentation and the homework, I think he'll be able to at least pass, even if we're not sending him to class. So we'll see what happens there. But what we have is going to start doing the birthday stuff. So birthdays this year. Thanks Hobart II becoming an infant, Elizabeth Hobart passing away, Wynette Waldrick becoming a toddler, Astrid Hobart becoming a child, Trinity Dubois passing away, Anquite Dubois passing away, Sakima Nokomis becoming a teenager, Annabelle Johnson becoming a teenager, and Tsunke Waldrick being born and becoming an infant. So lots of exciting things happening. I don't know, do we have any interesting birthdays on the docket for next year? Not really. But yeah, I think things are going pretty well, and we're going to see where we go from here. I am going to start winding down some stories. Like, I think we're going to focus on just a few families so that we can narrow our focus when our boys are going to be aging up in, let's see, 1682 is when they age up. So we still have a few years before our boys are starting to get married, have kids, and everything. So we still have some story left. And I am still going to tell some side stories when we have time, but I want our primary focus to be on our main household. What I want is for Phineas and Gideon to have like lots of kids, and then we focus on those kids and their stories instead of everyone all around town. So, obviously everyone in town would kind of become involved because they would get married to these Sims and all this stuff. But I do want fingers crossed, knock on wood, that we are going to be able to have lots of children and really beef back up our family tree. So that'll be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and I will catch you in the next one.